It is like.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Funnily Enough, the weekend interview format show that we have at Mavin Magic. Our guest today is Mynoo Maryel. And I'm going to quickly read out her introduction because it's so interesting. Oh, where did I keep that? Wait a second. Yes, there it is. Mynoo Maryel is an acclaimed author, a visionary, and a thought leader. To many, she's a mystique, revered life coach, global influencer, spiritual confidant, and business mentor. Mynoo, welcome to this interview format show that we have. I'm so glad that you're here. So tell us a bit about yourself. You're a lot of things to a lot of people. An acclaimed author, of course, to all the people who read your books, a visionary and a thought leader, a mystique, a revered life coach, a global influencer, spiritual confidant, and a business mentor. How do you wear so many hats, and how much time do you have every day? Is it 24 hours? Is it more?
I have a particular way in which I relate to time, and so I relate to it as something that is not linear. So I focus much more on my intention, and then time shows up to support. Sometimes it collapses and the intention is fulfilled. So my main thing really is, Sai, I'm really about creating a flourishing world, a world where expecting and accepting miracles are the norm for humans and humanity. And a miracle to me is where something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. The fact that your heart is beating, that is a song of the heart. My job is just to make that connection for people. And once you actually really connect to, regardless of whatever is happening, your heart is beating, there is something there for it to celebrate. So what is that? You automatically release lack. And the moment lack goes away, dissolves fear, and you literally go forth and amplify. As you amplify in your truth, you multiply that which you intend. So I also land up multiplying time. So
I actually want to unpack this a little bit, because you said you don't live in linear time. So basically you're living in the future. You're like, okay, I'm going to ask, or I'm going to expect something from the universe. I'm going to hope for something that adds value to my life, and then the universe will give it to me. And so you're already living, say, some time into the future. Is that?
So actually, for me, past and future don't exist. Okay, past is in the past. It's not real. Future is only a projection of the past, not real. The only thing that is real is the moment, right? So I actually don't live in either of those. I live in the moment. So if I have an intention, I embody that intention as if, so what would I be being if that intention was realized?
All right, I'm going to stop you right there, because I have a follow-up question on that intention making. So you had an intention of being on this interview format show at 8 o'clock today. So what was that? What were you wanting to be in this moment? Like, tell us, were we worthy and deserving of your intention?
Were you worthy of your? I mean, I really
this entire setup.
Yeah, one, I really do love the resilience and the consistency of consciously positive. A vision that Shabana envisioned, and then she really has got some amazing people around her. So I know I'm really a stand for that conscious living to be amplified. And I thought it was pretty cool, funnily enough. That's why. And by the way, the other thing that's attractive is your name is Sai. My son's name is Sai also. So.
Oh, is it the CY Sai, or is it SAI Sai?
SAI.
Oh, very cool. So be a Sai, brothers in name at least, if not in relationship. Awesome, great. So I have so one thing we do at Funnily Enough is something that I didn't get a chance to explain to you before, but we do that with every guest. We play a small word game with them, just to get them to loosen up, just to get them to feel that they're part of this conversation. And I want to play the same word game with you, with your permission.
Sure.
All right. So the game goes like this: that I will give you a word, a simple word that you are very familiar with, nothing fancy, and your job is to give me a person's name, an animal, a name, place, a place, name, place, the name of a place, then an animal, and a thing that is associated in your head with that word. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be something very deep. The first thing that pops in your head, that's all you need to do. and I will give you 30 seconds to do
hold
that.
on.
Are you
Yeah, so hold on. You're talking about name, place,
a name, a place, an animal, and a thing?
animal, and a thing I associate with. Okay.
Yes, and it has to, like I said, it has to be completely like whatever comes to your head. There's no right answer, wrong answer. It's just us having fun. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds because sometimes you're like, I'm going to think about it for the next 25 minutes, and then it sort of defeats the
Go
purpose.
for it.
All
Go
right,
for
so I'm
it.
going to make it set the timer back to 30, sorry, 0, and then 30 for 30. And the word I'm going to give you is, oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to give you light. You have to give me name, place, animal, thing associated with light, and your time starts now.
Light. Well, yesterday, the name that's coming to my mind is Jyoti. And she is someone who looks after the real estate of this ancient Arabic space in Dubai, which I would love to have a flourishing place in.
Mhm.
So that's the name that comes to mind. And then you talk about
Keep going, keep going. Well, it's good. This is a good answer. Please keep going.
okay. Place is Mount Shasta, which is a volcanic mountain in Northern California. Animal is dolphins. They are beings of light. And association is
Thing.
hmm?
A
It's
thing.
a thing, a thing, a thing. Hmm. Lamp.
All right. So I'm of the answers. The lamp was probably the most clear cut. There is light. Lamp makes sense. But why dolphins? Because you don't associate dolphins with light. They're underwater. It's all darkness there. Why dolphins?
They are actually beings of light, you know. They
Hmm.
are not indigenous to the earth, and they are beings of
What? No, 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 no. You can't just say that and not ask me to unpack that. What do you mean they're not indigenous to Earth? Isn't everything on Earth indigenous to Earth?
well, they've come to become integrated here, but they really have come they were brought into the planet. They're far more intelligent than humans are, and they continually embody the new cosmic codes that come in. And their only job has been to anchor a playful vibe, and really they came in on this planet at a time when command and control was starting to take hold, and it was going to become quite intense. So anchoring the playful vibe on this planet with a lightness of being is what their role is. That's why they
So you
came in.
genuinely believe that dolphins are aliens? Essentially, that's what you're saying. They didn't evolve on Earth. Let's put it like that.
Well, they did not originate from here. That's what I see. See, if you look at my bio, it is also called a seer. So sometimes I can see stuff vibrationally. So
All right. So
vibrationally, nothing contaminates them. They remain the beings of light, no matter what.
So there is, I'm sure you've heard of this, and others must have talked to you about this. There is a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and in
Yep.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, dolphins are considered to be, again, creatures not from Earth, and so long and thanks for all the fish, and then they go off into space. So, I mean, is that where all this came from in your head, or is it something you genuine? I mean, I really see. I'm a
Actually,
software engineer.
I mean, I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy long before I went into my spiritual awakening journey. So these sort of things didn't necessarily connect at the time. The Babel fish is the one that really got stuck from the Hitchhiker's
Hmm.
Guide to the Galaxy.
Hmm.
But yeah, they were brought in to bring in lightness of being, and that's why they are beings of light, and they brought in playful energy. So it's not my stuff; it hasn't come from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm curious to know where it came from for them. You know?
That's so. I mean, so my guy who wrote the book is dead, so you can't really ask him. But
Yeah.
that's fascinating that you consciously did not make the connection, and this is something you
Um,
truly believe that dolphins are creatures of light, and they are, I guess, placed on Earth to embody a certain mindset. Interesting. Now,
yeah.
so
But
are you a sea person?
have you ever done swimming with the dolphins?
I barely know how to swim, so swimming with dolphins is out of the question. So
Neither
no.
do I. I'm not a great swimmer at all, right?
Right.
But I have to say that, in my spiritual awakening journeys, I would have like an intense period where I would experience internally things changing. I call
Mhm.
it my spiritual awakening 100 hours. And each time something new, a new gift would appear. So from my corporate world, hardcore business oriented results type stuff, I used to wear three-piece suits with tie and waistcoat and two buttons of the waistcoat left open, which is like I mean business and I have gravitas type thing. There's a code, by the way, right, of on waistcoats. So
Mm.
I had all of that happening, and then I go into my space where who am I, what I want to do next, and is this all there is to life? So, as a part of that journey, I started developing these gifts. The first gift that I got was a gift of writing poetry. And then there were many other gifts. And there was one particular point where I was living in Bali. I went to Bali for 3 weeks and decided to just wind up everything in London and landed up staying there for 9 years. So
In
it was
Bali,
in Bali. Yeah.
right?
So it was
Mhm.
really interesting. Um, and at one particular point, I was in 2012, actually, I was guided to go through periods of silence. And I would just wake up one morning and I would feel from inside, from my intuition, silence for the next 3 days or silence for the next 15 days type thing. There's one of those silences I was guided to go and just stay in this particular place, which I love to stay right on the ocean. And this time my intuition said, go pick up some paint, pick up some acrylic boards. So I go pick it up. I've never really painted before in my life. So I'd pick all that up and I start painting, you know. And this painting, even before I did anything on this canvas, the guidance was, this is dolphin enlightenment. And it's a beautiful painting, actually. I painted the whole thing overnight, like within hours it was painted, go to bed, get up in the morning the next day, and I do my very long pranayam that I learned from Baba Ramdev. So and I would, the sunrise was beautiful. So I would always sit there on the edge of the beach and do my pranayam. So I had my eyes closed, I'm doing the pranayam. And then when I opened my eyes, in front of me, there must have been 80 to 100 dolphins. And they were literally like performing a show.
Hmm.
And that's really where I really got the hit that, wow, you know, I have actually like crossed the threshold into a new world in my life. And literally from that point on, lightness of being became indigenous to me. It wasn't. I was
So
a very intense, serious
the
person before
so
that.
are you saying so you didn't do any in your corporate life and prior to your awakenings and your periods of silence? You weren't an artistic sort of person. Is that what you're saying? You never did art. You never did painting.
I mean, वही
So it's
बचपन
all
में जाते थे स्कूल में, that's it.
all the basic stuff, like you draw a mountain, a couple of
Only,
mountains and
only as
a
a
house in
kid.
front.
Yeah, that's it.
Ah,
Never did anything. And now there's some very interesting paintings that I do. But it all
huh.
began with the
And the
dolphin.
poetry thing, right? So even the poetry, were you not a poet? I mean, were you a writer before this?
I wrote
Okay.
business plans. I wrote bullet points. I wrote PowerPoint slides. And I
Hmm.
was one of those very classic people. People would write big, long emails, and I would write one sentence back. That sort of person.
Do you relate to that person anymore? Is that person completely gone from your psyche?
I don't relate to that person.
Huh. So, okay, so all this happened. And okay, this begs the question, was there like, did he fall on your head or something that caused this? Or is it just like, what was this like 180-degree shift from who you were to what you are today? That's a full U-turn. No, yeah, 180, yeah.
You know how we all have a horror. I mean, in India, you're an Indian, I'm an Indian, and when we are born, a lot of the time, most of us have a horoscope, right? So I
Mhm.
remember my horoscope, and people would talk about it quite a lot, which said that at the age of 49, I was going to, my life was actually going to come to an end,
Hmm.
right? So, and it was around the age of 49 where I had my spiritual awakenings, you know. So for me, I would be like, oh, 49 mein to mar nahi hai. It's very good. I won't be suffering or anything. Then I don't need to have pension. I don't need to save that much and blah, blah, blah. So it was actually quite a liberating idea that at 49 I was going to go. But really what happened was I actually did die, at 49, because that is when I went to Bali. And Bali happened to me, as my son Sai says, Bali happened to you. And I go there for 3 weeks, and then I'm like, okay, I'm winding up everything, moving. And everything shifted. Everything shifted. When I went to Bali, I had a perfect medley of health issues that many Indians have, blood pressure, hypothyroidism, hormonal imbalance, hypertension was there, and type 2 diabetes was quite significant as well. And I had an infection in my right ankle that just wasn't healing. So I was on very, very strong antibiotics and stuff, and somehow managed to, get well enough to be able to travel to Bali for 3 weeks, because a friend of mine guided that it was time to just regroup, and focus on who am I and what I want to do next.
Did
And
you have a spirit?
because I listened to myself and focused my attention on me, that was
Hmm.
the turning point.
So did you have a spiritual guide while you were in Bali? Like, did you have anybody that you were in regular communication with and who was guiding you through this transformation?
No, no. I mean, I was born, brought up in an Arya Samaji family. So we were not, there was no concept of murtis. There was no concept of, a spiritual guru or anything like that. And then I go into a corporate world, and I was hardcore corporate. For me, it was like, if I want to learn about leadership, I'm going to learn from leaders. Did the
Hmm.
MBA because Indians like to have the tick boxes. So did that. But really, when it came to leadership, I wanted to learn from leaders. So here with the spiritual stuff, I didn't even know what to do. So really it was like I was in the midst of nature taught me a lot. And I called it downloads. What, I don't know what else to say. I would just start writing stuff because I felt like something was happening and I needed to write.
Hmm.
And there were words that I didn't recognize because I never thought like that. But actually, Sabchis, everything is there within us. Our soul has
Hmm.
had so many journeys. It's within us. It's just the moment we say yes to us, to ourselves, then the magic of us starts to reveal itself. And that's really what
Hmm.
happened. So I read, I listened, I implemented. So I was like, teaching myself as I was going along, you know.
Hmm.
That is really what was my journey and continues to be. It's not it's like I feel like I'm the super excited student going to kindergarten every day.
Hmm. So now the next question is, since you were brought up in a culture which didn't have the concept of gurus and idols and stuff, it is all self. You were your own source of light, essentially.
Hmm,
Then how
hmm.
do you reconcile that with being a mentor and a guru to other people today? So how do you say that
Yeah,
I found my truth,
yeah.
but I'm not going to help you find your truth, and I'm going to be the guru? So isn't there like a contradiction there?
But no, this is a very, very good question because, I speak on conferences all over the world, from the UN to major conferences around the world. And I'm talking about hardcore business principles because that was my background, right? And it doesn't have to be hard anymore. There are some core business principles, and you can actually do it in a flourishing way. I talk about climate. I talk about some of the most pressing concerns that are impacting humans and solutions. I, bring together solutionaries from around the world. I often have people after the talk saying, please be my guru. I want you to be my guru. And my response to all of them is that, at the best, I can be your guide, to help you find the best guru for you, which is you. Because it is your soul that has had the journeys, and it is that is within you. That is your guru. I can only be a guide. A mentor is a very different thing. A mentor is more like a signposter of someone who has been there, done that. So I never claim to be a guru, never. This is like, no, you are your best guru. That is, and I'm just a guide to make that connection for you. And that connection often comes from mentorship because I've been there, done that. And I'll just share with you, often when I do my work, I talk not as a pravachan. It's more like, this is what will support you, and this is how I implemented it, and this is the impact it had on my life. So I have that approach. Oh, I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Should work again.
Yeah.
Right? I think the microphone decided that it had enough of me. I'm going to shut off for some time. All right. So mine, I respect the fact that, let me make sure it's connected. Yes. I respect the fact that you say, I'm a mentor, not a guru. I'm not a coach. I am just a person who's been on the journey that you want to go on, and you can use me to go further. That's essentially what he's saying.
So, no, Sai, I am a coach,
Mhm.
right? I am a get your head screwed on straight coach.
Okay.
Okay. So I accept you, good, bad, ugly, beautiful. And whether you say anything to me or not, I have a pretty good full picture of who you are, right?
You're talking about me specifically or the person you're coaching?
Anybody,
Because I
anybody,
feel a little under the microscope.
anybody at all, right? And if the bottom line is we are a soul being having a human experience. So as a soul being, we are all really the same. So there's amazing magnificence. It doesn't matter whatever else has gone on in your human experience. I just plug into that soul being. So
Got
as a
it.
coach, that's where I'm coming from, to get you to plug into your soul being existence and connect to the magic of you. Again, we've lost you. We've lost you. Your microphone's playing up.
How's it now?
Yeah, good.
I'm going to switch out of the microphone. This keeps giving me problems. I'll buy another one. So my question to you was that we all of us, literally have moments of self-doubt. Like, why me? Am I the person who should be talking about this? Am I the person who should be uplifting and raising other people's psychic levels? Am I the person who should be talking about climate change? Am I the person who should be talking about traffic problems in Bangalore? So do you have moments like that where you have self-doubt, like, why me? Why am I the chosen one? And do I have a right to claim I'm the chosen one when I don't have any written document saying, yes, Mynoo is the chosen one and she's the one who's supposed to guide you? So how do you convince, were you as a child given a lot of, were you trusted with a lot of responsibility as a child because of which you're like, it is me, I'm expected to be great?
Well, I mean, I'm the eldest. So as a child, there is something that occurs with the one who is the eldest. So there is some automatic accountability that happens. But also when the second sibling is born, then suddenly and I was the first grandchild in the family of my father's side and the mother's side. All the attention was on me. Then when my second sibling was born, my sister, then suddenly that attention shifts. So you then have to like regroup and self-actualize, even at that tiny young age, right? So there's something that's there, that happens as an eldest. I actually, because I look at, there's magnificence in each and every person. So I'm really not thinking that I'm the chosen one. I'm thinking that you are the chosen one. And how fortunate am I actually to be interacting with all of these amazing people? Because each person is the chosen one for what they've come here to accomplish and do. So I'd never show up as I'm the chosen one. I was in Bali thinking that I've retired when UN first approached me to do a talk to 600 interfaith leaders. I was like, I didn't even think about faith, right? As such, you know. So it was weird that occurred. So it was like, okay, I'm not going to. It's not about that there's something special about me, but I guess, I'm just going to share my perspective. So I literally just go and share whatever my perspective is, and I ground it with my own experience. So I'm not
That,
into and climate change. I knew nothing about, nothing, other than Delhi is very polluted. That's it. I didn't really know anything about climate change. And yet, when I went to Bali, I had these amazing people that came into my life that taught me about forestry and permaculture. And, I had this amazing jazz singer from Java who decided that he was going to be a farmer. And I had a small piece of land. And I said, okay, you have it, make magic with it. And he did. And I would have branch to table foods. And so I really literally learned from real experience of what's going on. And I would so I became very curious about I would attend some of these conferences because I'm speaking and there are other speakers and they're talking about all of these problems that are happening. So for me, it was like there has to be solutions. So for 4 years, I just traveled the world to find solutionaries to the world's most pressing concerns. Because I realized, having attended the World Economic Forum for many years in my corporate life, there's something missing there, you know? And I realized that what was missing was dignity. And it is because of this, and dignity is honoring of your own worthiness. And from that space, you honor it in others and the planet itself. Because we disconnected from dignity and replaced everything with only economy, a tree has value once it is chopped. In the forest, it has no value. So forests have got chopped, and we are all like up in arms about climate, you know? So it's a dignity issue. So I thought, okay, there have to be dignitarians which are solutionaries. So I traveled the world to find solutionaries. And then when I would be speaking at these climate conferences, I would just share what has emerged from my travels, on solutions to water, to soil, to air, to carbon, to trafficking that occurs. There's in all parts of the world. It's not just sex. It's human trafficking is quite prevalent everywhere. So I would talk about solutions and solutionaries. So really, that's what happened. I really do not profess as like the expert. If I do have expertise in something that I have amassed through my life experiences, which comes from my corporate life, and then I've actually taken it further and integrated it in my spiritual work, it's on leadership. So I began with inspired leadership. I was known in England for that. I'd created the Inspired Leaders Network. And then when I went to Bali, I got into authentic leadership, which is connecting to your truth. And that also has got its own arrogance to it. As I engaged with the shadow side of that, I emerged into what I call now as flourishing leadership. So that is, if there is an area of expertise, it's flourishing leadership.
No, so I want to highlight your response to the question. It was really interesting that you said, I'm not the person who is the chosen one or the one sent to lead anybody out. You see greatness in other people, and you're like, oh, I'm going to help you get that greatness out. That's essentially what you do. And I find that really quite a different mindset, because a lot of people that I have read about, at least and I obviously haven't interacted with them directly, but a lot of people like, I'm a spiritual guru, and I'm the, you need to follow me and not find your own greatness, which is kind of different. And the other stuff, of course, and you keep using these words which I've never heard before, like solutionaries, and there was something else you said which sounded like I've never heard these words before. Are they invented words that you came up with?
Yeah, they're invented words.
And what is the thought behind this finding words? How did you discover that there's something you need to have something called solutionaries? Why solutionaries are not experts or something?
Because you can be an expert by studying a lot. ChatGPT makes everyone an expert.
Right.
A solutionary is a creator of solutions. And for something to become a solution, you would have gone through a lot of experimentation. And you would also be someone who is completely comfortable with failure. Because as the experimentation is happening, your failures are also rampant.
Right.
And every failure, is a seed of innovation. So a solutionary is a very different set of characteristics. An expert, if someone argues against an expert, sometimes experts, get very offended by that. Solutionary, everything it generates curiosity. If someone doesn't like what they've done, they go, oh, okay, maybe there's a better way. I have created this solution, but maybe if I scale, I might come up against this problem. So they have a sense of curiosity.
So
So
that's
that,
what
yeah, so it's a very, very different set of characteristics.
All right. And you also mentioned the World Dignity Forum, and I think JEGA, something else that I saw on your website
called What are these two platforms? There's a large Inspired Leadership Forum, Inspired Leadership Network that you have. So are you still involved with them? What is the goal behind?
Inspired Leaders Network is something I created in my corporate world, and I actually sold it. And so I still have a small stake in it. It is continuing in the UK as well as in South Africa. Then World Dignity Forum is it's a mission, it's a movement, so it is continuing. So I'm continuing right now to find solutionaries, and I have dialogues with them about what they've done. I sometimes go there. I sometimes take tours of people to visit certain locations where the solutions are just completely mind-blowing. I haven't yet been guided to bring them together, curate them together in the form of a summit. We will do that at some point. But right now, it's really because the world itself has changed quite dramatically since our COVID experience. So it'll come.
Can you maybe highlight one solution that you thought was, what, this is great, and I'm seeing it, and I want more people to know about it. Like, is there any such example?
Yes, I mean, we have one right there in India, Dr. Rajendra Singh, the waterman of India. I was completely gobsmacked, when I met him. We were a group of 35 of us, all of us with solutions of different kinds for different issues for the planet. And I heard him talk about how he had started resurrecting rivers, and he showed this river, and he taught a whole methodology of how to do this, and there's a whole river that he's like resurfaced in Rajasthan, and that has completely revived, a tiger sanctuary, and villages that had no food and people were really dying have become quite flourishing and healthy to such an extent that for 15 years these farms don't need any watering. The reality is, so I saw the water tables were a big issue. In Bali, it was a massive issue, water tables. And then I realized that actually it's not just about water table. Desertification is a problem. India has 9 times more floods and 10 times more drought, right? How does it doesn't compute that this is happening, that you have so much rain and that yet desert is spreading. Something is not adding up. And so I was looking for a solution for that. And that's how I found out about Dr. Rajendra Singh. And there you go. Here's a man who's actually created a river in the desert, and saw that, and actually visited it. And I saw that this ancient technology written about in our Upanishads of how you create dams, how you create ponds in such a way that they continually feed the water tables. So as a result, you can have farms and you don't need to water them at all because there's more than enough water that you have created by allowing the earth to absorb the water from the rains, which we don't do. That's like one of the solutions. Another amazing one was to do with topsoil. Topsoil erosion, I didn't even know what this topsoil was, right? And then we were building quite a big estate in Bali at the time. And I came across this guy in the US, and he uses a certain type of composting, which um, which transforms topsoil. So something that might take 60 years can actually happen in 6 weeks. So that's another example of a solution.
Something topsoil replenishment, which takes 60 years, can be done in 6 weeks.
Yeah, amazing.
Does it happen? Have you seen it happen?
It does. Yeah. He's doing it. He's doing it.
He's doing it, or he's claiming it?
No, he's doing it. He's doing it. No. That's what I mean by, no, I'm not looking at experts. I was looking for solutionary. There are many that claim they are still in experimentation mode. This one is actually doing it. I mean, the other guy that I really loved is the guy who created Earthships. You can go and look it up. I mean, his whole thing is that guys, we live in an earth ship. Let's not destroy our own ship. We're all going to drown, you know? So he literally creates homes, very comfortable, stylish homes, which uses all of the material from the earth. Everything is recycled, you know? And the philosophy that hit me from him was, you know, a friend of mine took me to visit a particular place that he had created, and it was blistery. The wind was so like crazy. And here's a home, does not have any heating, you know, and I'm like, we're supposed to stay here. I mean, it's like, it's okay. I can go and live in the hotel, you know, down the hill type thing. But I go in and it is warm. Inside it, they even had a courtyard which had bananas and pineapple and stuff growing, right? Because he said the earth, it's about how you use the recycling of the temperature, because the earth actually is quite warm. You know, but we cover everything up as opposed to allowing the vents, you know, to release the heat that is already naturally there in the earth. Other piece I learned from him was around water. You know, he says that we dig down to get water, but actually we are surrounded by water, and water, you know, we also have water that rains on us. So we just have to find a way in which we capture that rather than go pull out the water from the earth. So he has something that looks like a water tank, except it doesn't pull the water from the earth. It actually collects the water, you know, and that's how all the plants inside this home were actually being, you know, serviced. And that was the water that we were drinking. The toilets were look like a normal Western toilet. And, you know, and you had a flush and everything. That was all there. And there was no smell, no stink, nothing. Everything was completely recycled, you know, and was very beautifully nurturing the vegetation that we were feeding off in the house. So again, you know, this is what I mean by solutionaries. I mean, you know, the guy's an architect. He's been crossed off the architects, you know, group because of his radical, you know, thoughts. But he does have a solution, and there are growing. There's a growing interest in people wanting to live in homes like this.
Right. So, okay, how do you decide? So you said I researched topsoil erosion. I researched this disconnect between droughts and rain flooding. So how do you decide what next to focus on? Or is it just, okay, I'm just going to, whatever somebody comes and says to me, I go research that?
No, I do follow my intuition. You know, I'm an avid meditator, you know, and actually everything is a vibration, Sai. You know, and you can feel those vibrations, you know, and as you feel the vibration. So if I was to say, okay, what are the main elements? There's water, there's air, there's earth, and there is air, you know, there's the space, the environment that we are in, right? So if I was to say, okay, what about water? You know, what are the solutions that are called for? What are the pieces what are the biggest things that are off in the context of water? I just follow my intuition. I just like put out a question, and I'm in my meditative state, and I'll get, okay, research this, you know, and I just go for it. I've learned to trust my intuition, and I then follow. You know, now I have a great circle of people. You know, before I didn't even know where to start. I had dear friends who were in this environmental space, so they were my starting point. The first thing that I got, by the way, that got me into the climate stuff was there has to be a way to convert garbage into gold. You know, so how are we going to do that? I had no idea. I reached out to a friend of mine in California, and because she used to talk about environment and recycling and things like that. That's all I knew. And then she said, okay, I've sold my house. I'm looking for what I do next. For the next few weeks, I'll come and stay with you in Bali. And then from garbage to gold is where this whole dignity issue surfaced, and then the rest is history. Now I have an amazing collection of solutionaries that I can go and get others through.
So your network is growing on its own, because you know people know people.
It's become an ecosystem now. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. And so it's about 8:40, and if Prem or anybody has any more questions, please feel free to jump in, share your thoughts with Mynoo. And while people are thinking of what to ask, let me also ask you about a book that you recently wrote, Unstoppable. Tell us more about that. What is this book? What is it about? Why is it something we need to know about now?
Yes, yes, this is Unstoppable.
Huh.
Okay. Now, Unstoppable is really my book on leadership that I wrote, and it is which is called Flow, Flourishing Leaders of the World. That is for leaders, corporates, adults. And I started doing a program teaching young adults in colleges. That is my giving back, if you like. So because I feel that every child is to be nourished and nurtured. The nurturing is what I do by this education program. And through that, I saw the transformations that were occurring, and I was very hit by the teen suicides, the students, killing themselves all over the world. It's happening in India, it's happening in the US, it's huge. The problem is increasing and growing. As a parent, I saw the desperation of parents. I was one of those parents because I discovered that my son was cutting himself and he became anorexic and just wouldn't eat. So I went through that journey myself. So I felt that, okay, it's time to really create the flourishing leaders of the world, a version of that for young adults that makes them know that they are unstoppable and they can be unleashed. So Unstoppable is several of my leadership principles, really, told through a variety of stories of young adults who have implemented my practices. So it talks about how you transform fear into freedom. So for me, fear is false expectations appearing real. That's all it is. But it becomes our truth. The reality is it's just false expectations appearing real. There's no reality to it. So how do you transform that and, really have it become the power that enables you to reclaim your freedom? How do you transform anxieties, make them into awesomeness? How do you manage your time? Because these are all of these elements that actually impacted young adults, which I saw from working with a few thousand students around the world. I really taught them some very practical practices coming from the gravitas of flourishing leaders of the world, but communicated in a way that young adults can do something with.
So young adults, I'm assuming they're 18 to say 25.
Yeah,
That
17 to 23 is the
right. So essentially, it's all the stuff that you have learned about leadership boiled down into something that people who are finishing high school, entering college, that cohort can understand and utilize. Do you find that they have the...
It's also a very powerful book, and it's quite a short book for parents, for teachers as well, So that is where the breakdown starts to happen as the young adult starts to only focus on themselves or with their friends, and then they start cutting out some of the adults. Then this is a way in which the two can actually continue to transform their relationship to the next phase of their lives.
Do you find that people in the 17 to 23 cohort, they have the mental picture of the world, big enough picture of the world, and they're not very do they understand? Are they able to absorb the lessons the way you intended to be? Or is it like, oh, there's some people within it who do it, others don't?
Yeah. It is a very, very different style of writing. It is story-based. And the stories are not theoretical stories. They are of real kids, So even before I start talking about the concept, and the concept is written in such a way that it's very easy, become a legendary listener. And then there's a story of someone, what was going on for them before and the issue that they had and what impact it had. And then, I might say have 2 or 3 sentences of what I'm talking about, and I give them something interactive to work with. And then I end it with a much bigger story. So it's written it's a very different style of writing.
So you said you were supposed to die at 49 and then you transformed into a person who's not dead clearly. So you're clearly above 49 years old today. How do you find yourself able to relate to people who are 18 and 20? How do you write for people in the 17 to 23 cohort? What language do you use? How do you know that they need stories versus, say, action items versus activities? How did you know all this?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did not know any of this, right, other than as a mother. But my son is now 33. So, but I have actually been running the flow programs in colleges. And there are a few thousand students that I have now interacted with in different parts of the world with intensive, like 5-day intensive programs or 1-month summer camps. So I've been like in the midst of these students, and I've heard them talk about it. I've had many a times I've had professors in the audience, so because like there'll be like 100, 200, 300 students that I'm working with. And many times the professors would say to me, it's been 6 hours and I don't know how you do it. The students are completely engaged. So what I've learned is it has to be in 10-minute chunks. You really cannot have a lecture for an hour. It's just not going to go anywhere with that age group. It's got to be 10-minute chunks. So then I learned and I've perfected it in through interacting with these students. They are the ones who've taught me. And remember, because I'm coming from, you are the best guru for you, and you're an amazing teacher to me. It's my privilege that I'm actually with you, because as a soul being, you have something to teach. So that's how I relate to them. So I learn a lot. So I don't claim to be some main person who sort of somehow knows it all. They've taught me it.
Right. So is this book available on Amazon? And
It's available on Amazon. Yeah, absolutely available on Amazon. In hardback, paperback, online. I also, from the stories, by the way, that the students shared, I was inspired to even convert it into a song. So there's also a song, like an anthem.
Would you sing it for us, or would you put it in the we can put it in the show notes?
Yeah. I'll share it with Shabana. She can share it with you all.
The show notes and not make you sing now. That's great. Congratulations on the launch of the book.
I'm not a singer, but I'm certainly a composer. But writing the song "Unstoppable," like I talk about, I go through spiritual awakenings, a new gift appears. I was going through a spiritual awakening. I wrote the song "Unstoppable," and now I've become a prolific songwriter. I've written 17 songs now, produced them as well. So
wait, this reminds me of the movie Matrix. Have you seen the Matrix?
yes, of course.
They inject some plug into this guy in Neo's brain, and now he knows how to do jujitsu or something.
Yeah.
It's like that. I just go for a meditate. I mean, I just meditate for some time. Now I'm a songwriter. Then interesting. So it can happen. It's just not through that plugin.
Yeah. Well, last night I wrote and composed and produced the song for Diwali, which is it has to then go through the process of copywriting and distribution and all that. So assuming we are able to get it all done, because I don't relate to time in a linear way, so sometimes magic happens. So I'm expecting it to get sorted today.
So one last question before I open it up to the audience. How frequently has it the frequency of these moments when you're getting your downloads, has it happened? Did it happen more in the past and less now, or has it accelerated? Is it the same? Like every 6 months I get a revelation and download, or what is it frequency?
It's actually continuous, but now the interesting thing, by the way, was my career. I studied as a botanist and microbiologist, right? That was my graduation. And I went on and took a job and I got a job with TCS as an intern all those years ago in the computer industry, right? So it was very different. But I think at that time they used to teach us all about ones and zeros and that kind of language and stuff. So we learned a lot about the workings of computers, right? So there's memory stack and there's a buffer and there's a cache and all that kind of stuff. So now the downloads happen all the time. I don't have to write them. When I'm ready, I go, okay, I'm now ready to create my next book. And I then start writing it because it's already all in there.
Very interesting.
Now I don't have to write it.
So there's this physicist, a Nobel laureate physicist who's now gone over to the side where he believes that there is universal consciousness. His name is Roger Penrose. Yeah, he's actually British. And he talks about how your brain is actually a quantum mechanical device, which is capturing signals, quantum signals from the universe and things like that. It sounds a bit like, you've just taken this same concept to another level. Anyway, it's 8:51 and we have about 10 minutes more with our guest, Mynoo. Prem, Rajvin, if you guys have any thoughts to share with Mynoo, any questions to ask, please feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead.
Mynoo, looking at you is Sai and Mynoo. Looking at you guys reminds me of my talk show. Sai, you really motivate me to run more and more my show. Mynoo, you are unstoppable. You are truly unstoppable, like the book. And your aura made me and my caregiver publish an ebook.
Oh, yay. Wonderful. Awesome.
Your aura and all the consciously positive people and everyone else, my associates, they made us publish a book.
Amazing. Congratulations. Really proud of you.
Yeah, so the book is called Healthy Lifestyle. And yesterday I was telling Shabana that Mr. Nahan had helped us to do it. So yeah, so we have actually completed it within 24 hours on the 23rd of August. And after that we got sick. Okay. So you gave us the message that if I have a condition, so what? That means if I have CP, so what? And if you are age is not a limit to start or stop anything.
Yeah.
We are always entrepreneurs. We are always trainers till our last breaths. And very happy that I have good mom and dad and caregiver who care so much about me.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prem, anything that you would like to share? Your camera was on, so I was assuming that you want to share something.
You'll need to unmute, Prem.
Yeah. Maybe he's not fully focused on this content. That's okay. We can keep going. So, Mynoo, so do you do online? If people want to get your help today and say, you know what, I would like a mentor and a coach like Mynoo in their life, would you have an online program, or you have any courses that you can people can sign up for?
I do a number of things online, and they are completely, free of charge. People can join those. In addition to that, I have a program that is primarily for founders, and it's a business collective that I run, where we get together once a month live in person. And there are some, because it's international, and there'll be some people that'll be online. So it's a hybrid live where where I guide you with my, business, holistic business approaches to focus on your business. And then the rest of the time you can actually be in your business. So that is a paid program that people can be a part of. From time to time, about 6 times a year, I run immersions, and they are on different topics, and where that they are residential. So you literally fly to wherever I'm doing the immersion, and you'll be with me for 4 days, focused on that particular topic. So there's one which is about living the life you love, which transforms anxieties into awesomeness. There's one which is about living the romance lifestyle, and the romance one I do in Rome, living the life you love. Living the life you love, I do it in Dubai and in California. Then there's one which is about really living your passion. That I would also do in Dubai and Rishikesh. Then there is one which is about, it's for the founders. causing extraordinary results. And that happens in California, and it also happens in Dubai. From occasionally, I might do it in Rishikesh, but Dubai and California.
So I'm curious about the romance one, because everybody wants to talk about love.
Yeah.
What is the audience for? Is it mostly women or is it mostly men? Is it mixed?
It's mixed. It's couples and singles, both. So my philosophy is that romance is really a lifestyle, and a lifestyle is very personal. And yet we give the power of romance to another person or to a relationship. So we've put so much pressure and burden on something outside of us for something that is so personal. So if you can live the romance lifestyle yourself, you actually become a co-creator of romance in your intimate relationship. And otherwise, you become a codependent, and that just drains both of you out.
Now, I'm curious about this. I'm sorry. We should have talked about this before, because now it's starting to sound interesting. How do you live a romantic life or a life of romance by yourself?
Being on an adventure. I mean, I'm living a romance lifestyle, I'm on an adventure. Every day is like a new day of discovery. I can let my hair down, go and have a great time, or feel upset about something and find a way of processing myself out of it. I can do what I choose to do because I choose to do it. That's a romance lifestyle. But when you go into that, I have to, I need to, I should not, you're like burden upon burden upon burden upon burden. You can barely walk, let alone live a romance lifestyle. And then somebody else has to give you the romance. It's like, hello, you're not available for yourself. You're not available in the relationship either.
So what is the difference between the love immersion and the romance immersion?
Living the life you love is, I have 7 pathways to transform anxiety into awesomeness. Okay. And transform failure into flourishing. These are the 2 pieces that take you away from living the life you love. So if you know how you can transform anxiety into awesomeness, if it ever occurs, and you have multiple pathways, just in case one doesn't feel very feasible, you really do feel free. You live in the realm of awesomeness, and you can live the life you love because you choose to.
So if I don't know what that means, if I don't know what living in the realm of awesomeness means, literally, and I have the energy, time, money, space to attend your immersion, how would you recognize that a person is living a life of awesomeness? Maybe I am and I don't know about it. How do I know?
No, it's very easy. Your body is your indicator. It don't have to get intellectual about it. Your body tells you. If there's a yummy feeling in your body where everything feels all good, nothing's like no ickiness anywhere, you're living the life of awesomeness.
You mean literally physical sensations? You mean that yumminess is physical sensations in your body when you're not feeling?
Is the indicator. Okay, so use your physical body as an indicator. Then you can go deep and say, there's clearly, I'm not feeling that yummy in my body. There's something not quite gelling up. Then you can go deeper into it. But first diagnosis is use your body.
So it sounds a bit like Vipassana, because in Vipassana also you're supposed to figure out where in your body your flow is getting blocked, and you have these, I don't know what the word they use.
It's not. I really do engage. I'm about stillness more than I am about silence. Remember, I had a whole year where I was mostly silent. So I really know that silence is where the most noise occurs from within you. Okay. And at some point, and that's why it all happened in concentrated way in 1 year for me, because after a while, that noise starts to become wisdom, your own inner wisdom. But initially, that's the best place to get all the noise that's inside you out. I'm about stillness. So I'm about live in the middle of whatever it is that you're engaged in and have the ability to be still. So when anxiety is starting to build up, you know it is building up. You can immediately deal with it because I teach you how to do that. And all my immersion, I call them immersions. Literally, they begin at 7 a.m. You go to bed at about 11 p.m. in the evening, and everything is taken care of. It's about full spectrum, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. Everything is taken care of. It's very, very conscious. It's experiential. So you literally every day you might have transformed many, many times over. So just like in yoga, we create a cellular memory of the posture, doing the posture right. There are many cellular memories I invoke. So then when people leave, they can actually continue their journey. I'm really about giving people a way in which they can go forth and amplify. I don't want any dependency from anyone. I have 8.5 billion people to reach. So I don't need people coming back to me again and again because they're quite capable of transforming lives themselves. I'm totally like them. I was the most unlikely person to be talking like this or living this kind of a life. I was intense, very serious.
Well, what does your sister think about this now? Does she think, Mynoo, you a spiritual person? Or she, oh yeah, Mynoo, makes sense that you're a spiritual person?
Well, they were all very shocked, like when I went to Bali for 3 weeks, I come back and I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm dancing, and they're like, what? They were scared that something seriously crazy has happened here, because Mynoo was one person who did not smile. As a kid, I did smile a lot, but then once, being trained for the competitive world takes over, the smile disappeared. And I was in England and I worked for an organization where we were taught the stiff upper lip way of talking, and, smiling was just really not the right thing at all. So my sister, what does she think? Because it's very grounded side. My work is very grounded. You'll see there are many people who I coach and mentor in business. And my specialty actually in the context of business is if you have a vision and you've got your business to a particular point and it has got stuck, but you still have the vision of really taking it out there and accomplishing an exit point. That's my mastery. Getting your business unstuck to an exit, whatever that exit looks like for you. And that's coming. So my sister knows that it is all about a holistic thing as opposed to bull force. So she really likes that about what I do. She implements what I do fully in her work. And she's in the business world. She's in capital structuring of big, large-scale public-private partnership projects. And my youngest sister is actually a spiritual guru, where people really do look up to her as a guru. She's on Astha every day and stuff.
Oh, wow, really? That's
Yeah.
crazy. So maybe it's like a family thing that you have the...
It's interesting. I was the least likely person to go there. She was the one. Youngest sister was always into the spirituality and stuff. I was the least
Meeting her,
likely.
your sister could have... It makes sense that she's there, but you, no way. But I guess it's all good now. So Prem, I see you're back on camera. Your audio's off. Audio's on. So is there something you wanted to share with Mynoo?
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste.
I was thinking, want to ask you whether these words resonate with you, like compassionate capitalism, stuff like that. Like these words mean something to me. So, what's your take on this?
When I talk about a flourishing world and a flourishing business, compassionate capitalism is, I guess, the way in which new funding structures can actually be structured. And it's compassionate. For me, it would be compassionate in a holistic way. I always talk about when I talk to business leaders, I actually have stopped doing one-on-one stuff. I only do one-on-one where it is absolutely desperately needed, or one-on-one with people who are a part of the collective or in the immersion. With the business people, I would say I'll only work with you if you're up for playing the game of extraordinary results, which is unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality of life for you as a leader, for your stakeholders, which includes your family and friends, and the planet. Now, compassionate capitalism to me is the capital structuring that enables that to happen. and it's a level further than impact capitalism. It's much more holistic. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Very, very pleased that people are thinking this way.
Thank you so much, Prem. And I think it's 9:06. It's past the hour for our hour-long interview. So, Mynoo, clearly there was a lot more to talk about, but an hour is all we have from Shabana. She's going to be like, guys, you need to stop it. I have other things to do and just manage this meeting. Thank you very much for being part of Funnily Enough with Mavin Magic. I appreciate the time you took and just talk to us and explain your worldview. And congratulations on the launch of your book, Unstoppable. I hope it becomes a bestseller like the other ones that you have.
Yes,
And
it already has.
last...
Yes, so that's great.
Awesome. Any parting words for us that we can take back?
Really expect and accept miracles. They are the norm. Remain plugged into your heart. I would also say another very important piece, which is trying is so trying. So just decide and get on with it. Stop trying. Even release that word from your vocabulary. Be decisive, make a choice, and get on with it.
Expect miracles. That's one. And what you said about trying, Bruce Lee used to say, there is doing, no trying. There's
absolutely.
You
Decide,
do or do not do. There's no...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Mynoo. I appreciate all the work you do and all the transformational changes you're bringing into the world, the solution areas that you're finding, and the World Dignity Forum that you're coming up with and you're eventually about to launch. So congratulations on all that, and more power to you. Shabana, back to you to close this out.
Yeah, thank you, Sai. Thank you so much, Mynoo. It was really wonderful. And yeah, just to hear it. And I think, 1 hour is too less. So we could have another episode also, maybe perhaps after some time. So thank you so much. It was really nice to hear you again. So thank you, everyone.